Hi. I'll tell you, it's been a little more than a year and a half since I've been in elected office. I'm proud to have succeeded who our predecessor and almost mayor, Matt Gonzalez, was as a District 5 supervisor. And I believe we hit the ground running in trying to at least demonstrate our ability to help govern even in the most challenging times. While there's a little notoriety for plastic bags or my interest in taxing SUVs, and that was certainly met with a certain amount of resistance by even the most liberal enclaves in the city, there's some larger issues that we've been trying to push. And I have to say it's coming out of my office. And looking at such inevitabilities like the end of oil, we know that this illegal war abroad that is siphoning precious resources and billions of dollars away into the wars abroad that complicity-wise, both the Democrats and Republicans have consented to, siphons away that siphons away sort of that assets that municipalities like ours rely on to take care of social services. So we've had to be extra artful and savvy in figuring out what is this city going to look like 25 years from now? Will the working class, will the African American population, will a minority working class, or a lower middle class or middle class be able to stay in San Francisco 25 to 50 years from now? And the answer is no, it's impossible. If you look at the cost of living, if you look at the quality of life, if you look at all the impediments that are coming before us because the federal government has decided to check out and the state government does not know what to do because they do not want to reconcile the deals that are being made or bartered between Democrat and Republican parties, we have no choice but then to cast our dissent. This election for Congress and Krissy Kiefer's candidacy is not about who wins or who loses. This is about the fact that we cannot stand on the sidelines and let mediocrity take its place. And this is exactly what this country has been doing. Katrina was not just a Bush initiative. What it was a failure of vision even by the Democrats. Why we're in Iraq wasn't just a unilateral push by the Republican Party, but it was the spineless, the lack of backbone in allowing us in the vulnerable position that we were. Now, I'm stuttering a little bit because I just did an all-night flight from the East Coast. It was the first time I got a few days off. Since I've been elected to office, I went home, visited some family. Let me tell you something, what it's like flying as an Iranian, especially over this weekend, what a flying experience is like. This country could not be more sort of at ease right now and more vulnerable in its state of mind or its future vision of what its confidence can be because the leaders that we have in place do not instill that level of self-esteem, stability, or confidence in our future. So while we hope Washington changes, we can make those changes right here at home and say something to the very question of mediocrity that even those who profess to be the most progressive or liberal within Congress, they still deserve our challenge. And that challenge today, up until the election, the day of the election, is Krissy Kiefer right here. Now, I believe that maybe in subtle ways, you might know us Greens for various things, whether it's standing up to the community violence that is decimating the African American populations in San Francisco and other mid-sized cities throughout the United States. That's not just an anomaly, and that's just not a black thing. What that is an absence of vision and how to deal with the future of urban living with populations that struggle to find an economic place for themselves. That's exactly what's happening, and that is not different in San Francisco at all. You and we always seem to have the reputation that we live with as being the most progressive city in San Francisco. That lulls us into a false sense of security, which is why the bar needs to be ratcheted that much higher in questioning the ability of our leadership in Washington or even in the state legislature or even here in the Board of Supervisors. Are they doing the most they can as progressives and standing tall to that level of mediocrity that they're dishing out from either the Republican perspective or from the Democratic perspective? It is no mistake, and it's not by some accident, that Joe Lieberman lost the Democratic nomination in Connecticut. It was not. If you watch that race, is a man who only 6 years ago ran for vice president. A senior senator who ran with Vice President Gore now is basically dislocated from his own party because of the duopoly that they had forged in order to get us in Iraq and failed to figure out how to get out. Now the salvos are being fired everywhere, and now we're starting to see a very turn of the phrase by Democrats who are very pro-war are now a little less pro-war. But why do we let them off the hook? We let them off the hook because we decide to always back the lesser of two evils or the evil of two lessers. And why should we give them that excuse? In a city like San Francisco, you and me, my friends, have no excuse whatsoever. We have the latitude, we have the foresight, and we have the history to say that we can send a very strong message by making sure that we get out. We work very hard for this campaign, Krissy Kiefer's campaign, because this is not about Krissy Kiefer, this is not about the Green Party, this is about sending a strong message that it's time to take back this country, and we cannot wait. We cannot wait for them to take it back from Washington, and we cannot wait for the gridlock to be sort of unlocked in the state legislature. It has to now be done by municipal prowess and by the muscle that we exercise on a citywide level. That's what globalization has done. That's what NAFTA has done. That is what the crisis has done, that catapults us into these illegal wars abroad, that makes us on the local level of trying to basically dig them out of the jams that are caused on the federal level. So on a local level, it is now our responsibility to answer the call. You don't stand on the sidelines. You get out, you volunteer in the campaign, you donate some money, and you vote proudly by either absentee or the day of the election for the candidate where we need to send a very strong message. Because if we continue to reward mediocrity, it's just what we get.